it is necessary to always point out what direction the Democratic establishment is going in. There is no question that they have a thing for Elissa Slotkin. They want to push her just like they want to push Whitmer. There is no question that
Booty Judge. They have their people that they're setting up. They're teeing them up.
And what do they all have in common, Jen? What do they all have in common? They're all from the state of Michigan. So the Democrats clearly think that they have to hone in on the state of Michigan, that this is essential. Whether it is Gretchen Whitmer, whether it is Elissa Slotkin, or whether it is most recent carpetbagger Pete Buttigieg.
I don't see what they think it's going to do for them.
What do they think that they're going to do with it?
I don't think they even put the thought into it. They have no concept of strategy, not at a local level, not at a state level, and not at a national level. They have zero concept of strategy. It's like a bunch of like dated old people that did politics in the 90s sitting in a room trying to figure out how to raise money and reach out to them kids. They're pathetic, and they're going to cease to exist. But I don't think that I don't see what they think Michigan's going to do for them.
Well, this is going to be a two-parter, and I'll explain why. I can assume, Colin always does an amazing job, and I can assume that there is a part of this clip that includes Krystal asking her, what are you doing on this show? Like, what possessed you to come on here? And the lunacy to her answer speaks volumes to how disconnected these people really are.
Try to uphold, basic human rights, Palestinian humanity, oppose the killing of innocent civilians wherever that happens. And I have to tell you, I feel really guilty that I'm not doing enough. I think all the time about, I'm a mom, I think all the time about those moms who can't feed their babies. Mm-hmm.
And you could tell that when she said that, I thought of you immediately. I thought it's just like a mother, like this, I can't do enough. And even though Krystal has been talking about this since day one, somebody who actually has been using their platform for good about this particular topic, which is the topic of our time, a person who actually has made an impact is telling themselves and telling the audience, and I still haven't done enough. I have not done enough. And even though
none of us have done enough. If we've done enough, then it wouldn't be happening. I actually see this as a failure of our species. We have failed as a species. That's what I think. And I don't know that I'll ever unthink that. You know what I mean? It'll have to be like some sort of miraculous thing in the future where I unthink that.
Those babies are starving to death. And I just want to know, you're a United States Senator, you did vote for some of the bombs that were dropped on refugee camps. When kids have been sniped in the head, tents firebombed, people set on fire. The entire Gaza Strip turned into rubble. And now we're seeing these emaciated bodies of babies starving to death every day. And I know what you can do. Does it eat you up? Does it eat you up? Do you think, what more could I do? Do you regret any of your votes? Do you regret
let me tell
any
you what
sort
I
of
was working on
complicity?
this morning.
You could see it in her be like.
Not only doesn't she regret it, but right here, what she's about to do is she's redirecting the conversation. She's about to redirect the conversation to something that is sort of related, but not really but won't answer the question. Wait for it. Go ahead.
A group of Jewish rabbis and Muslim community leaders came together with a proposal that we are working on just getting, if we can't get other aid in, at least get baby formula and nutritional supplements for children.
She's working on that
Let that
now.
be kind of a green light, never has a problem. No one's trying to eat baby formula other than a baby, right?
Okay.
But she cares about that now. But again, so she was asked a question, and instead of answering it or responding to her being called out for her votes in supporting this Holocaust, she pivots. This is a pretty good pro move. She immediately pivots and turns it around to something she's working on, which then, of course, begs the question is, what the fuck have you been waiting for? It's been about 2 years. So, there's so many problems with this.
Well, there's also another key point here that I don't think people are realizing, which is why I think that this is a significant issue. In a month, it is going to be 2 years that this is going on. Krystal basically just brings the simple receipt of, you have voted in favor of Israel the entire time.
And she will always.
Will always. When you take $700,000 in money from just AIPAC alone, what do you think is going to happen? Who is this person answering to? This is why when people get on Donald Trump, it's like, yeah, you can get on Trump, but remember, it's the system that is a failure. She is a failure as a human being. And on top of everything else, which is what we've been saying since the moment that this piece of shit stepped into power in the US Congress and now the US Senate, she was a CIA spook for many years. And do you know, Jen, does the audience happen to remember exactly what she was working on when she was in the CIA? She was working on Iraq policy, which with George W. Bush back in the administration. Yeah, that's right. That Slotkin girl, she was a great asset to our administration at the time. Did you know that?
But here's where I find that, and I'm not saying that I would do this as an interviewer, which is why I don't do interviews like with people that I wouldn't want to do this, because, you know, at this point is when I would want to like put my hand in her face and say, you do not get to perpetrate a Holocaust and then get together a panel, an interfaith panel, so that we can allow formula to get in 2 years later. That is just not okay. And it is not okay to say that to her. And that's the problem. And no, I wouldn't expect Krystal to do that. I wouldn't necessarily do that. That's why I'm not a journalist, you know, but that's the kind of thing. See, that's the kind of thing that Max would do.
Yes.
And that's why she would never go on with someone like that. I cannot with this woman.
Well, she's not done.
She is perpetrating a Holocaust and yet bragging about an initiative to throw a little something their way while she's killing them off.
Yeah. Once a CIA spook, always a CIA spook.
That is the proposal that I've been working on all night and this morning.
Tirelessly.
So in terms of what we're trying to do, there's not a moment that goes by that this isn't something that I'm working on and something that my own community, not online, but my own community has practical things that they want to do. They're willing to raise the money. They're willing to buy the formula. They're willing to do whatever we need to do to get it shipped in. That's how I spend my time.
But
before she became statewide, did she represent Bloomfield Hills?
Guys, can you double check what congressional district Slotkin represented in Michigan
before she became senator, please?
So was she, if she is the Detroit suburbs, which I believe she was, which would come as no surprise.
I'm curious for a personal reason if that's Bloomfield Hills, but the way she's talking about her people would be so willing to do that. Yeah,
I was just going to ask you, what is she referencing when she says that?
I know what she's referencing, which is why I wanted why I want to know if it was Bloomfield Hills is in the district. So it's a very white supremacist, Zionist, paternalistic approach. It's okay. So it's Lansing. Okay. So she's not Bloomfield Hills, but when she's talking about like her supporters and her people, what I imagine she's talking about are the liberal Zios that are willing to allow her to push for some aid while they're perpetrating a genocide, right? That's where her supporters are. The people she's talking about, oh yes, they're happy to raise money for the formula for the babies, but they don't want you to stop sending weapons to keep bombing the babies. See that what the hell is that?
Liberal Zionism at its finest.
Exactly. It's honestly, I prefer Jews for Jesus. If I'm going to have to deal with something that's just completely oxymoronic, I'd rather deal with Jews for Jesus.
Well, like I said, she is definitely one of the golden girls in the Democratic establishment right now. So you're going to be hearing a lot from her. And we've got another beautiful clip.
I will make it my mission. To not let her have peace of mind with anything she says. First of all, she's got psychopath face. and the way she's talking, because Krystal was sitting there like talking about starving children. And instead of even responding in any sort of emotional context to a question,
it's terrible what's happened to these children. We have to stop.
She says nothing based on how she feels, which is what she was asked. And instead, what she does is she immediately pivots to something she's working on, because she can't talk about how she feels, because how she feels is she don't give a shit.
No,
that's why.
This is the thing about Slotkin. You have to remember, she is a white Ashkenazi Jew. She, by birth, hates these people, doesn't care, the fact of the matter is that for her, the only thing that she doesn't really like is that she doesn't want to see it. That's the difference. For her, this is just a job. I mean, if you can do what she did, which was work hand in glove with Bush and Cheney about how to take out, let's be honest, the Iraqi people, what the hell is taking out the people that is considered a blood oath with her belief system? She believes what these psychopaths believe.
That's what I'm saying. She doesn't care. So she can't answer a basic question about, which was, I mean, Krystal was kind of in a nice way basically saying, how do you sleep at night? And instead of saying, well, it's been hard, I feel conflicted, and any sort of way reflecting any human emotion, she just pivots into something she's working on tirelessly that should have been worked on 2 years ago.
That to me is the most effective thing that I can do today.
This is a subtle question. Your staff is telling us you absolutely have to go. So we appreciate
And there it is. So as soon as, and this is what, and
this is why I listen. There are times where I can't stand Sagar, but this is one of those moments where I know that he just could not wait to tell them. Your staff is saying that you got to go because you can't handle the truth. Like,
oh yeah, no,
so on brand for him to not even be like, we know that you got to go. Final thoughts before. It's like your staff's in our ears saying that we can't talk to you anymore.
Yeah, they were going to cut her off. I don't know what they expected. And this is something that's really interesting is the amount of people that work in the consultant class in that sort of publicity, media relations, all of that stuff that are really just not very good at it.
No,
they're really just not very good at it. And they put their clients in situations where they end up with a whole bunch of unforced errors that would be, and what makes them be unforced is a little bit of research would have prevented. So, and again, I think she's a total piece of shit and she should get whatever she's got coming to her. But if I were her media person, I wouldn't have wanted her to go on this show.
No. And apparently she has one final thought.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming.
Senator.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching.
But as you can imagine,
as soon as Krystal asked her that question, she immediately went to what she's going to talk about. And her staff immediately was like, yeah, we got to shut this down.
Without even allowing her to say something that would get her into deeper trouble. Now, for all of you libs out there that are still crying about Stephen Colbert getting his show taken off in a year, don't worry. Don't worry. Colbert to the rescue to allow Slotkin to kind of update her PR. And so she decided the day after she went on, and I believe this was yesterday, Stephen Colbert decided to interview Elissa Slotkin.
Electorally minded people out there like to think that some of the trouble the United States has is because of what they call the deep state.
Right.
Okay. And as a former spy, is there a deep state? What do they mean by deep state?
Yeah, I wish people could understand that a lot of the guys that I serve with, guys and gals at the CIA or at the Pentagon where I served, first of all, a lot of them are former military. So, if you can't.
So that means
that's not a selling point.
Yeah, they serve the country, so automatically you criticize them. You hate the troops. Remember that, Jen. Remember that's what happened back in 03, 04, 05. That's what they did. They always say, "Oh, you don't support Bush, you don't support Cheney, you hate the troops."
Can't be like pro-military and then anti-intelligence community and deep state. But a lot of the guys are also like wearing mom jeans and white sneakers on the weekends. Like these are good corn-fed people who just want to help their country.
Eating ballpark franks.
Eating their hot dogs or.
I hate him so much.
Well, first of all, he probably doesn't have too much say-so into who even comes on his show. Let's be clear. So when you say he had her on, this is what was on. I don't know what his arrangement is, and I don't know who's in charge, but clearly it's not him since he's ending this year. So who knows if he even had a say-so in this. If the Democrats or whoever deep state people said to their sponsors, we're having her on, guess what? They're having her on. And Stephen Colbert has no say-so.
I mean, you agree that this was a last-minute decision, that her the feedback that she was getting, the type of PR hit that she was taking from
what was the time difference between her going on Breaking Points and then this?
Like a day or two.
Okay, so yeah, because she knows she looked ridiculous, but she's one of those people. She's very Kamala. She'll just look more and more and more ridiculous. The more you see her and the more she speaks, the more it will be vapid word salad nothingness. And in her case, it's even a lot more I think even like subversive, just being that she's former CIA. So it isn't even just word salad. It's word salad. And also she's extremely suspect.
Jen and I were pointing this out constantly post Trump's victory in 2016, when we first started really talking about politics together. And I made a point to say that the Democratic Party is making a concerted effort to elect spooks into their party, to get former military, former CIA at the highest levels of government, because all of the neocons were basically leaving because they didn't want to deal with Trump. And so the Democratic Party was like, hey, John Brennan, hey, John Bolton, you guys want to come into our party? You're welcome. We'll get all these guys elected. And Elissa Slotkin is one of those people that they got elected. And now she's a U.S. senator, all in the course of a handful of years. That's how fast it happens when they feel they got the right one.
She's just she's just a little too smooth.
Oh, absolutely. You could see right through.
She's very smooth. She's very polished, but I also don't think she'd be really good speaking off the cuff. I think that she will be very similar to Kamala in terms of her being able to progress. The more people see her, the less they'll like her.
Yeah, but that's also true in general for all of them. That's the thing. This is part of the reason why Kamala's not running. Maybe she's going to run for president. That's still yet to be seen. But she's obviously trying to, she's trying to go into hiding like Hillary did. But as far as any of these other clowns go, whether it's her, whether it's Buttigieg, whether it's Newsom, whether it's Pritzker in Illinois, whoever, whether it's Brashear in Kentucky, you are never going to be able to lie your way through the American people again. Like, that's not going to happen. The only thing that is holding it together is whatever remnants of the old boomer guard is still holding you above water. But you don't have much left. Now, either the Democratic Party is going to cease to exist or it will be systematically taken over, which I still think is going to be near impossible because there's still too many ready, willing, and able people. Jen, we're not going to discuss it tonight because it's really not that important, but you got to get a look at this fuckhead that's running against Nadler in New York. I mean, it was like McKinsey picked him and said, yeah, you run against him and we'll fund your campaign. What was even more amazing.
And he comes off extremely likable. I thought he was a really cute looking guy. But I didn't realize who he was running against. I just saw a campaign ad on Punch. I'm like, oh, he seems like a cute guy. Had no idea.
That gets stuffed right in front of the CNN TV is when you know that this guy clearly is just doing what he's told because they're trying to get Nadler out of there. Because the truth is, Nadler at this stage of his career is not really playing ball anymore. And he is in a very powerful position in New York because his district represents the anti-Zionist Jewish part of New York City. And that's why they can't touch him. And they want him out. And so they're going to pick a guy who is not only a total Zionist, but also a huge Cuomo supporter.
Wait, when you say the anti-Zionist part, where does he represent? What's his district? So
he's got parts of Manhattan and parts of Brooklyn, if I remember correctly.
So you're talking about the Jews, the Hasidic Jews in Brooklyn that are anti-Zionist?
Correct.
That's in his district. Well, they won't want someone who's a Zionist.
Well, he's trying to do everything he can to hide it, but he's doing a really shitty job. And that's the great thing about the technological age we live in, where everybody is like, no, this guy's full of it. He's
right.
Okay. Not. So
are good, corn-fed people who just want to help their country.
Eating ballpark franks.
Eating their hot dogs or doing whatever. And this idea that there's some network of people that are running the world, it doesn't really match reality. And these people.
Oh, I'm sorry. I could have sworn I've seen like Davos and all sorts of gatherings of people that would offer a very counter narrative to this.
Jen, they're just a bunch of rich, considerate billionaires. I mean, haven't you thought about that?
They're just meeting to discuss philanthropy. Yes.
You mean to tell me that Klaus Schwab is not this really good guy? I thought he.
She's ridiculous, and the more people see her, the more ridiculous she's going to look. Her numbers will only go down.
I agree.
People in the dead of night are doing things to protect this country and make sure things don't blow up here. And for me, the way that Trump is going after them is it's particularly, first of all, it's nasty. Second of all, it's completely counter to our interests to be demoralizing the people that are protecting us.
What are they protecting us from? Who's protecting us from who? Who is she saying is protecting us? Who's protecting us?
That's who we support.
Well, Butch Ware would protect us. But no, who is she saying is protecting us? I'm not understanding what she's referencing.
First of all, the language that she used there right at the end is extremely threatening as far as I'm concerned. This whole idea of ending that segment by saying, well, we don't want anything. We don't want to be
blow up
in this country. So we're protecting you. That sounds like a threat.
No, it sounds to me like fear mongering. It's fear mongering. It's manufacturing consent for, look, when you ask, is there a deep state to someone who was part of the deep state? I don't know what kind of answer you think you're going to get. I think that that's kind of a stupid thing to ask her. But, she's not going to say, yes, there's a deep state and I've been there. And this is what we're trying to do at the end of the day. But I mean, that is definitely the narrative, is fear mongering, because if you don't have fear and fear of terrorism and fear of Russia and fear of Iran, if we're not scared of all those things, then we really wouldn't need that much defense and that much intelligence, would we?